Hey, what's going on? How's it going? It's Friday, man, the end of August already. So summer's gone. September's this weekend. It's it. That's it. It's over. That's it. That's it. We're done. So, I'm still glad to be here. I'm still just glad to be here. Shit. I wish I could extend this season some, but it ain't happening. It's just not happening. But it is what it is. I believe it's Friday. I think it's Friday. Is this Friday? Yeah, it is Friday. Was in Gary a little while ago, and they got a Michael Jackson tribute going on. I think this is the birthday weekend or something, or the celebration weekend, anyway. And it was pretty nice. Of course, excuse me, I had to leave to come and be with you. So, and that's all good, because, I'd rather be here anyway. Anyway, hey, what's up, James? What's happening? How's it going? I got some terrible news. I'll discuss that later. But oh man, this guy, you know what guy I'm talking about. Boy, he keeps getting bailed out. Anyway, how's it going, James? You all right, man? I tell you what, I feel pretty good. And this should be an interesting weekend. I think I'm going to get out and enjoy myself this weekend. Ought to be pretty interesting. All good. That'll work. That'll work. I understand ICE supposed to be coming to Chicago. Now, ICE is okay, as far as legally is concerned. He can send ICE. That National Guard thing, I think you're having a problem with that one. But before I get into this, any of you that's got grandparents or grandmother that's getting therapy, if she got a home health aide that happens to be a man. Now, this is a public service announcement. Y'all know I love to do public service announcements, okay? Check on your granny's therapy. If she got physical therapy, check on the therapist, okay? Make sure this ain't going on. All right. Make sure Granny getting took care of now. What's going on, Carmen? Check on your granny. Make sure her physical therapist is on the up and up. Another thing occurred, though, this week that was sent to me. And I thought this would be an interesting discussion. You say, James, wow. Hey, man, stranger things, brother. Stranger things. Check on y'all old folks. Hey, Ronnie, how are you? Hello, Jeffrey. Okay. How you doing? Everything good? I'm hearing, moving right along, I'm hearing a, a cop, a recruit was fired this week. Fun Friday. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we're going to make it that. They fired a recruit from the police officer in Gary this week and last week. And I thought it was an interesting story. So I'm going to play this clip and we'll talk about it. Because I want to know what y'all think about it. Check it out.
Says Gary's police chief gave him an ultimatum days after he was sworn in. Cut your braids in 24 hours or be terminated. He says he thought the department would allow him to keep his hair because of his religion, but he was fired the next day. Tonight he is calling for change and his job back. These cornrow braids that Chance Johnson has been growing for more than 4 years are the subject of what he calls an unjust move by the Gary Police Department. Johnson says he was fired last month because he wouldn't cut his hair.
It represents strength. It allows me to represent myself and my faith and myself as a person.
Johnson says he practices the Rastafarian religion. He says hair is seen as a symbol of strength, identity, and pride, and cutting it would go against his religious beliefs.
When black people were brought over to America, one of the first things that was done was their hair was cut off to strip them from their identity. It represents my faith and what I stand for.
Johnson, his wife, and 4 kids moved from Dallas to Gary for the officer position. He says he passed every test and was offered the job.
I wanted to be that police officer that if I seen something wrong going on, I can step in and do the right thing.
A Gary City Council member posted this photo on Facebook showing Johnson and the new recruits during their swearing-in ceremony. That day, Johnson says the commander told him the chief had a problem with his hair.
I said, okay, sir, I had no idea that this could be a problem, but I do have a religious accommodation form that I wanted to submit to you. And he didn't say anything else. He just said, okay, I'll talk to you after the ceremony.
Johnson says he contacted HR right away to seek a religious accommodation to keep his hair. About a week later, Johnson says the police chief scheduled a meeting with him, stating he had 24 hours to cut his braids or he'd be terminated, citing safety reasons.
If it's about safety, why is it that the females get to keep their hair? And then that's when he told me that he didn't have to answer my questions, and now this is getting to be more of an argument, and he wasn't having it.
Johnson says he was fired the next day. He believes his civil rights were violated, citing Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Title VII prohibits private, state, and local government employers with 15 or more employees from discriminating on the basis of race, sex, national origin, and religion.
He said in the state of Indiana, they don't have to accommodate religious requests. I never heard of anything like that.
I reached out to the city of Gary and the Gary Police Department. A spokesperson for the city of Gary responded by saying, quote, "The city of Gary can confirm this is a personnel matter that we are reviewing. We are committed to fair treatment of all employees and compliance with applicable employment laws." Johnson says he wants Gary P.D. to be held accountable and he wants his job back, but not if it means cutting his hair.
It's nice and neat and professional looking. I don't think anybody should be terminated for their religious beliefs, especially when it's not doing any harm to anybody around them.
Johnson says he has not heard from the Gary Police Department since he was fired last month, but he is still hopeful for a resolution. As for where things stand today, the city of Gary told me it cannot provide additional details about individual personnel matters at this time.
I'm curious. What y'all think about that? I kind of came down on both sides of the fence, on this. Two things kind of got to me about this. One thing is, by the way, hey, what's up, Charles? One thing that got me was they did not express any issue with his hair during the hiring process. You literally let the man get hired to the point where you have to fire him because of the hair. That part I didn't get. Chief Cannon, females keep their hair pulled back. I think they did. Well, I get it with females. You're not going to ask a woman to cut her hair. Same thing in the military. They don't cut the women's hair in the military. They, depending on how long it is, because it has to conform. Now, I've seen police on the Gary department, men with longer hair on the Gary department. I've seen that. Again, isn't that something you discuss with the recruit before he's hired? That's my question. I can get, the reason I'm on both sides of the fence is because I can get department policy. If department policy is the men, hair has to be this long. You got a guideline. If you have a guideline, a book with guidelines in it, it's got to be this long. That's it. I get it. Department policy. But that is something that should be discussed before you have to fire the guy. Before the guy moves to the city from another state. See, he had to be interviewed before moving from another state. Man should be able to keep his braids and go to work. Hey, I get it. Like I said, I'm on both sides of the fence on this one because police departments do get to dictate what the policy is. Bruh, man should get paid big time. I don't know. They should have told him that first day they saw him. That's what I'm saying, Charles. Okay, when you interview to be a cop, I think they did discuss, but he probably felt he would use the religious clause and held out. Well, the reason I don't think that went that way was because he got hired. See, there's a whole lengthy process before you are actually hired, before you are actually taking the oath. See, if that was a problem, there were too many opportunities to say, hey, man, you're not going to get hired. That's my problem. If this was a problem, it's sorry, you can't get hired. Otherwise, HR would have prevented him from getting fired. Well, apparently they didn't. Because he got fired. That's where I'm fuzzy on this. And I get, hey, some feel he should be able to have the hair. I get that. I just think it was too many opportunities for this to be dealt with before he moved from Texas to Indiana, before he got hired. This should have been, he should have been told, you can't get hired with the braids. See, he got hired and fired. See, that's where it's not looking right to me. Even if they told him, okay, let's say he went to his first interview. And they looked at him, hey man, sorry, you can't you're not gonna be able to have the hair on the force. And he says, yeah, okay. Well, then he shows up to go through other parts, because it's not just one interview and then you hired as a cop. That's not the way it go. There's a whole list of processes. So I'm sure there's more to the story. Possibly. You know, somebody once told me the truth is always somewhere in the middle. You know, so this could be the case. That's why he's going to get paid, because the police department dropped the ball. And that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, you hired the guy. Now, Ronnie could be right. This could be something we don't know about. There could be a part of the story we don't know. I'm falling on the side that he's probably gonna get his job back, or, you know, he could have. Another thing, I get it. This is your identity and everything, but sometimes we get a little caught up in that identity thing. And if he practices Rastafari, okay. But under that, you are allowed to groom your braids. You know. I'm feeling like there could have been a compromise somewhere in there. But I thought that was interesting. And it could be, like just what Ronnie said, something we don't know. But it was, my thing is that he got hired thing. You know, there's too many steps between applying and getting hired. There's too many steps. Usually don't get paid for something like that in an at-will state. Okay. I have no knowledge in that area, so I have to take your word for it. And this is that kind of state. So he left one fucked up state to come to another one. What can I tell you? You know, and that's my only problem. My only problem is there's several steps before a person picks up and moves his family from one state to the next. There's steps in there. And this issue should have been dealt with. So I'll leave it at that. I am going to look up this one clip that I want to talk about so bad. And it's about my buddy Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom did an interview with Politica. And I could see the frustration he was going through trying to explain his position to these people. And I immediately thought to myself, the people Gavin Newsom are sitting in this room with are supposedly intelligent people, including the interviewer. And they don't seem to get it. So I'm going to play this clip. I want y'all to listen to Gavin Newsom and listen at the stress he is going through trying to get these people to get it. Check it out.
Donald Trump wants another election. You think for a second you want... I have 24 Trump 2028 hats. His folks keep sending me.
And you think he's going to run again?
No, don't give me. You don't. Who spends $200 million on a ballroom at their home and then leaves the house? This is serious, guys. This is serious.
So it'll be Newsom Trump in 28.
No. This guy doesn't believe in free, fair elections. He tried to wreck this country. Were you there, January 6th? I think Fox was. At least they were in a lawsuit. They seem to have lost any memory of that. Shareholders didn't. I mean, he tried to light democracy on fire. He dialed for 11, almost 12,000 votes. Now he's doing it in plain sight. And people say, oh, it's just Trump being Trump. People actually think this guy's serious about having another election? You think he's joking about 2028? You think when he brings foreign leaders to the Oval Office and he goes to the White House store, have you seen this? Anyone? Is it just me? And he shows them the 2028 hats? He's not being serious? Wake up. You will lose your country. Again, it's not about Democrats. It's about all of us.
So you're absolutely convinced he's...
I'm absolutely convinced.
2028.
You've seen it. He's tried to steal the last election. He's trying to rig it in plain sight this time. He wants to get rid of vote by mail. He's talking about eliminating voting machines he doesn't like. He's setting up the contours where he can declare a declaration of emergency for anything. Just cause means whatever he just said on Truth Social. He's running the greatest grift operation in world history. I mean, it makes some of these dictators overseas blush, the crypto, not just the perfume. I mean, come on.
Let me ask you about a couple of your...
Wake up, everybody. Wake up.
Let me ask you about a couple...
Excuse me, and I know it's impolite. We have to be more calm and demure.
A couple of your own...
But I'm not calm, and I'm not going to submit myself to niceties. Not when this guy's trying to wreck our goddamn country.
So...
Can you see the frustration in that guy? Those people in that room, they don't get it. Those people in the room are supposed to be the intelligent people. And they think that shit's a joke. Now, we here talk about the zombies all the time. We talk about, we know who the zombies are. We see the zombies all day, every day. But the people that's supposed to be the intelligent people are just as bad as the zombies. These people, the people that's supposed to be intelligent, the people that's supposed to be smart, the ones that's on the ball, the ones that are behind the scenes, the journalists, the ones writing the newspapers and what have you. I mean, yeah, it is far from funny. And those people are laughing. They laughing and as if, and I could feel, couldn't you just feel how Gavin Newsom felt? Couldn't you feel it? I felt what he was feeling. Like, what in the fuck? I mean, haven't you been there? Where you been? I felt just like him watching it. Only book smart, no common sense. Well, you know what? Is it actually common sense? I mean, can't you see? Can't you hear? It's like Gavin Newsom said. Do you think the man is building a $200 million ballroom behind the White House if he intends to leave? But that's my point, James. These not supposed to be the zombies. These people are the people. You know, these are people that's got the articles in the magazines and stuff, you know. You know, I wanted to get in the video and stomp on the stage and like, hey, God damn it, listen to what the man telling you. The man just tell you they sending him Trump 28 hats. They not doing that for the hell of it. The man is always talking about, people say he wants to be a dictator. People say I want to be a dictator. I'm not a dictator. You know, a lot of people want me to be a dictator. Why you think he's saying that stuff? He's trying to get people used to the idea. I'm not a dictator, but a lot of people want me to be a dictator. You know, they say I'm a dictator, you know, and a lot of folks want me to be a dictator. Why would he be saying that? He ain't saying that shit for nothing. He's bringing dignitaries from around the world and taking them to the closet and opening the closet, and it's just full of Trump 28 stuff. Trump 28 all over the place. He's not joking. The man is getting the Republicans in Republican states to gerrymander the districts so the Democrats cannot win. You can't win if the entire state is one party. You can't win. He's already got a Congress that's allowing him to do everything. I saw this clip and it shook me. This clip just shook me because I'm like, where are these people from that they don't understand that what Gavin Newsom is saying is true? And the interviewer said, oh, so you're convinced that he intends to... Convinced? He tell you every day. He show you every day. Do you think sending the National Guard in the cities isn't practice? Do you think that's not practice? Do you think that's not, hey, let's test the waters to see how much havoc I can wreak? Do you think that's not the prelude to an emergency situation? I'm going to start sending National Guard into cities, And there's going to be a clash happen that's going to allow me to declare an emergency. Do you think this is not the thought? I felt the same thing Gavin Newsom was feeling as he sat on that stage. I literally felt it. I was like, God damn, Gavin. I feel you. It's crazy. It is crazy. I tell you, I keep thinking of this cartoon where there was a guy always said, "We'll never make it." So anyway, on another note, the farmers and the lumber people, what do you say? Thought I saw some pop. Oh, there it is. The news media and the talking heads should be hitting the panic button for the American people. Dude, the news media is done. The news media is done. Don't expect them to do anything right. They're finished. The news media, the talking heads, maybe some talking heads are sounding the alarm. There's a few. But the media, I tell you what, CNN, Abby Phillips, she got a show on every night, and she got one of the most Republican clowns sitting there on her panel every night spewing all this bullshit. Why? Why? This guy's name is Scott Jennings. Why is Scott Jennings there every night allowed to spew garbage? And you know that's what he's going to do. I watched a story on CBS. I'm so done with CBS that, you know, we all know CBS caved. Remember? 60 Minutes, all that. They caved. 17 million, all of that. They caved. I watched the story on CBS. And I'm not even going to, I won't show it because it made me mad. They did a story that said the other side of tariffs could be a good thing. The tariffs could be a good thing. How in the hell is CBS doing a story saying the tariffs could be a good thing? Where in the hell did that come from? We know where that came from. We know where that came from. CBS. They know good and damn well tariffs ain't a good thing. And speaking of tariffs, I'm going to play a little clip right quick about the farmers and more lumber mills. Let's check it out.
Do better than anybody else that your state thrives and survives off of migrants' backs. Okay? And instead of them waiting for ICE to come, they decided to peace out before they could come and get them. I don't know what to tell you guys anymore. This is what you voted for. Whether you like it or not, whether you want to believe it or not, this is exactly what you voted for. And now you're feeling it. What do you want us to do? You want a government handout? That's socialism. You voted against that. No. Sadly, the reality is that you'll probably have to sell a lot of your farms for pennies on the dollar to large corporations and manufacturers. But don't worry, they'll probably let you work there for minimum wage.
If you think beef prices are high right now, just wait until the fruits and vegetables aren't making it to the grocery store, because farmers in the West Coast, California, Oregon, Washington, are reporting that 60% of their crop is remaining in the field or on the trees or on the vine. Blueberry farmers letting 60% of their crop rot, saying, hey, the raccoons and squirrels are going to have a great year, but I'm not. Cherry farmers, same thing. 60-70% of their crop is rotting on the trees because migrant workers who typically follow the harvest up the coast of California aren't making that trek this year, all due to immigration and immigration policies set forth by Republicans in the Trump administration. They're unwilling to take the risk of being detained by ICE, even those that are here legally, because they don't want to just disappear, and their family members that rely on them have no support. So they're staying close to home. And for Donald Trump, he says, oh, we need to fix what we're doing with immigration, and we need to support our farmers. But he really has no answer. In an interview with CNBC yesterday, he essentially said, oh, we'll fix it in the next couple weeks. But we know the next couple weeks never happens with Trump. Starting to say, I never thought that voting for Trump 3 times would result in me losing tens of thousands of dollars. A beekeeper out of North Carolina says, yeah, I proudly voted for Trump all 3 times. I flew flags for him and put signs for him in the yard. But now I'm out tens of thousands of dollars due to lost federal funding and tariffs, so I cannot export my products, my honey and my wax, to other countries like I could before, and nobody's buying it in the United States. Hay producers in Idaho and Utah that export alfalfa hay to China are now seeing 135% tariffs put on their product, and all of a sudden, they don't have anywhere to ship it. They held it all winter in hopes of sending it off to China in the spring, and now China's not willing to buy. Soybean producers are once again being hit harder than they were in the first Trump administration, and China, for its part, has diversified where it pulls these products from, with Brazil becoming the #1 soybean exporter and other countries picking up the slack for honey, for beeswax, and for hay around the world. Now, China's doing a great...
To all the dairy farmers and cattle ranchers that are losing your business, your family business, because of Trump's policies, I have a few things to say to you. Some glimmer of hope. First of all, I'm as shocked as you are that Trump doesn't care about poor working people. It surprises me that he would go with the rich cattlemen over the family cattlemen that have raised their cattle in dust and hard times and have struggled. I'm shocked that Trump wouldn't side with you and other working people. That surprises me. But I do have good news. A couple things for you. I know this is a hard time for you and your families, so I hope this gives you some hope. First of all, Kamala Harris is not president. I know that was an important thing for you, so congratulations. Second of all, I heard that all the produce farmers, they're hiring. They need vegetable pickers. So you and the family, round it up and head on out there. Good luck.
So with all this winning and FAFOing going on, apparently Iowa was feeling left out and felt the need to enter the fray and throw their hat in the ring. Iowa, the state of Iowa, is currently leading the nation in farm bankruptcies in 2025. Evidently, Iowa farmers did not learn their lesson from the first Trump administration and are getting another dose of reality. I guess once bit, twice shy, right? But, I mean, I'm not sure what can be said at this point. This constantly feeling the need to bend over and say, please, sir, I'd like some more. I mean, you guys are beyond help. I don't know. And despite all this, and despite the fact that the state GDP has shrunk by 6%, Governor Kim Reynolds has come out and said, Iowa farmers stand by Donald Trump despite the tariffs. I mean, what else can you say? I mean, if you're going to go down with the ship, go down hard, right? But of course, you know that they're going to be asking for handouts and expecting subsidies, right? Socialist.
All right, gather round. We unfortunately have another FAFO. This is a red state that voted for Donald Trump, and this involves specifically lumber and Canada. Remember what Trump said? He wanted the golden age. So this lumber mill wanted the golden age, and what they got was laid off and closed down last month. If you did not know, Trump has made an enemy of the entire world, and we now have a tariff on Canada, which is really United States citizens, on lumber of 35%. So this lumber company, they did wood trim and things for homes, out of business, workers laid off. If you did not know, we don't grow that kind of lumber here. That's why we need it from Canada. So expect any kind of trim work, anything you're building with wood, a home, every single thing is going to skyrocket because it has a 35% tariff. We're going back to the golden age, all right back to the Great Depression.
Okay. Ronnie, to your point, a federal appellate court today did rule that the tariffs are illegal. Absolutely. Now, I do not know, by the way, if you can, hit that thumbs up, ring that little bell thing so you'll be notified when I come on, and subscribe and share this with somebody you know. But an appellate court ruled today that the tariffs are indeed illegal. By Constitution, Congress has the power to levy tariffs, not the president. And what the president did was toss out one of those, this is an emergency, I got to put on tariffs. And the federal appellate court today said, nah, that's not legal. We will see, because guess where it's going next? You guessed it, the Supreme Court. And we know who them guys are, right? Yeah, them guys. So we'll see if that holds. So, despite all of this ammunition that has been handed to the Dems are still wandering around lost in the desert. Yes. Now, I got to tell you something. I'm pissed about the court ruling. They should have ruled, let them put the tariffs on. That, in my opinion, was going to be the downfall. My opinion, the court just saved them. My opinion, that was going to sink the ship, those tariffs. Every time I turn around, something saves the guy. This court, in my opinion, just saved him. And if the Supreme Court upholds this ruling, and they might uphold the ruling because they know it will save him. He doesn't know it, but they do. And this is all in an effort to save the economy. And this economy needs to crash. It needs to crash in order for people to see this guy for the grifter he is. That's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. As far as the Dems are concerned, the Democrats, I've only heard two speaking up and saying what they need to say. A couple others, maybe. But Gavin Newsom, of course, And oh geez, I can't think of his name. Young man, young state rep out of Texas. Can't think of his name. He has been stepping up pretty good. Little reverend, as a matter of fact, he's a preacher out of Texas. He's been, pounding the pavement. So, the Dems, crickets, just crickets. What do you expect? You got to learn to not expect nothing from them. What can I tell you? And one last thing I want to talk about. One last thing. Wonder if I can find that clip. Let's see. Did anyone hear about Susan something? She was the CDC director. The CDC director. This is one I gotta play before I get out of here. And then I got a question. After I play this, I got a question for you.
Following breaking news out of the CDC, where top officials are resigning en masse after sudden changes to COVID vaccine policies were announced earlier today. This afternoon, the FDA approved the COVID vaccine for the fall, but restricted who is eligible to receive it. In a reversal of longstanding policy, the FDA now says that the vaccine that has saved millions of lives in this country and around the world is only recommended for adults 65 and older, plus kids and adults with underlying health conditions. Now, this is the narrowest group of people granted access since the vaccines first became available. Remember that? Back in the early 2021, late 2020 period. Hours after that decision was announced, the Washington Post reported that Susan Menarez, the director of the Centers for Disease Control, was ousted after just weeks on the job. She'd been Senate confirmed. Although, to be absolutely clear, her lawyers say she has not yet resigned, nor has been officially fired. Quoting from the Post, Menarez was ousted after she faced pressure to change vaccine policy. Several senior CDC officials announced their resignation shortly thereafter, plunging the public health agency into turmoil. Post says Menarez declined to sign off on changes to COVID vaccine policy without first consulting with her advisors. The Trump administration, in turn, accused her of disloyalty. In her resignation letter, one of Menarez's deputies wrote, quote, "For the good of the nation and the world, the science at CDC should never be censored or subject to political pauses or interpretations. Vaccines save lives. This is an indisputable, well-established scientific fact." The director of the National Center for Immunization and Respiratory Diseases also resigned tonight, writing, quote, "I am not able to serve in this role any longer because of the ongoing weaponizing of public health. CDC staff continue to shine despite this dark cloud over the agency and our profession."
Okay. This story came out yesterday. She was hired at the end of July. So basically 3 weeks on the job. Okay, give it 4 weeks. I got a question. Foster Brooks with a worm eating his brain. Here's my question. Some folks with integrity. I think that's some folks with integrity. Here's my question. Speaking of integrity, she got hired less than 4 weeks ago. Who did she think she was going to work for? If she has integrity, who in the hell did she think she was going to work for? Where has this woman been? How could she have taken this position, this job? Hey, there's an opening at the CDC for a director. It's under Robert Kennedy Jr. I'm a healthcare professional with the credentials to get the director's job at the CDC. I have integrity. I have experience. There's an opening under Robert Kennedy Jr. No thanks. I know Robert Kennedy Jr. is a person with no integrity. I know he has no integrity. I know he's going to want me to lie about something. COVID is on the rise, by the way. Texas, California, and Louisiana. There's no doubt about that. It's going into that season. You know, that's starting to be just like flu season. You know? And hey, here's a guy wants her to sign off on some shit, you know, undercover, blah, blah, blah. She says, no, I'm not signing off on this. Okay, you fired. Who did you think you were going to work for? Robert Kennedy and the Trump administration. Did you think you could have integrity? Is that what you thought? I have to question her judgment. Was the opportunity the allure for taking this position? Was director of the CDC, was that the allure for taking this job? I don't know. But you have to know, you have to have been on this planet for the last 6 months, 8 months. Had to been on the planet. You got to know who these people are. How did you feel like you could take this position with these people? They've been through what? 7? I think it's 7. I think they've been through 7 IRS directors. A man with no medical credentials at all, period. Yes. How are you, with your credentials and integrity, going to work under him? How did you think that was going to work? How did you think you were going to go in and make a difference? What made you think that? They should have thought it, didn't they? I don't get it. I don't even get it. She could have thought they would let her do the job because of his limited knowledge. That ain't happening. No, that ain't happening. Trump brought him in to destroy the CDC. Trump brought Robert Kennedy in 2 reasons. Because Robert Kennedy had a group of supporters. Remember, he was also running for president. So he had a group of conspiracy theory supporters. Trump wanted those voters. That's number one. Number two, Trump wants the CDC destroyed. He wants to destroy it. Who better to do it? Robert Kennedy. There is no way she thought they was going to let her do the job. You got to be insane if you thought they're going to let you do the job and do it with some amount of integrity. I got to question your judgment. Come on, Ronnie. She couldn't have thought that. You know, I'm trying not to laugh because there's no way she thought that. Robert Kennedy Jr., really? Donald Trump, really? No. Like I said, I think they've been through 7 IRS directors for the same reason. I think they've been through 7 in between January and now. You tell me. I don't get it. I don't get it. If you take a job with this administration, you have to be crooked. Okay? You got to be crooked. They've shown the entire world that that's how you're going to thrive in this administration, by being a liar, a sycophant for this guy. You have to pledge absolute loyalty and be willing to do whatever you are told. That's it. That's your credentials. You don't need a college degree. You don't need to know anything about health and human services. You don't have to know anything about security. You don't have to know anything about foreign policy. You don't have to know anything. You don't need any credentials. Your credentials are absolute loyalty. I said it. There it is. Tell me I'm wrong. Excuse me. Tell me I'm wrong. So, anyway. This is crazy. Who would have thought this is where we would be? The way my bills have increased, I would take the job, get a check, get fired, to my resume. Well, okay. See, now you're being practical. Now you're being practical. Oh, shit. See, now you're making some sense. Okay, now, all right, I'm going to go with that one. All right, that one rings the bell. Ding, ding. That one rings the bell. Oh, shit. Man, come on. Just have to pledge to kiss his butt. Yep, that's what you got to do. Now, see, if Hey, I got that sucker this time. Flying around me. You got to pledge to kiss some butt. Now, if she did that, she could get 2 or 3 checks. Anyway, that's all I got today. I am going to get out of here. It is Friday night. It's the weekend. I may stream something over the weekend. You know, if you ring that bell, it will probably alert you to it. The only issue may be the copyright stuff. They may ding me. I'll find out. You know, we'll find out. But on that note, I'll see you Monday for sure. All right? Y'all take it easy. Talk to you later.